Chris Paul. How long will he remain a member of the Golden State Warriors? They have a team option on him. Chris Paul was really good last season. Really good. By the way, join us this Thursday. This Thursday in Martinez. Broadcast live from the Copper Skillet Courtyard in Martinez. Special open time at 6 a.m. Martinez. We're giving away some T-shirts. We're going to have some fun with Jay and the whole crew at Copper Skillet. Have some breakfast out in Martinez, the Copper Skillet Courtyard in Martinez. I think I'm going to go out to Martinez on Wednesday, hang out with some roasters. If you're out there, we'll go to a bar or something. Walnut Creek, Concord, Martinez are all right there. Pleasant Hill. We'll go watch Giants and Pirates, and then game one in the Western Conference Finals between the T-Wolves and the Dallas Mavericks. Go figure. Minnesota or Dallas is going to host the NBA Finals this year.
Minnesota!
Earlier today, you, not that you made fun of me, but like I was saying, hey, if you take away the Phillies and you take away the Dodgers.
I wasn't making funny.
No, I know, but like, we all agree. We all agree, right? The Phillies and the Dodgers are two teams we expect to be there somewhere near the end, right, in the National League, correct?
Right. Yes.
The Giants are 1-9 against those teams, all right? And against everybody else, they're significantly better. What was the Warriors' record against winning teams last year? Like the best teams in the West?
It was not good.
Well, it was like 5-100.
Yeah, it was not good.
All right?
It was not good. So, I could just go down the list right now. 0-3 against Minnesota. 0-4 against Denver. That's 0-7 for anybody keeping math. 1-3 against Dallas. So that is 1-10. 1-10 against those three teams. OKC, you're 1-3. So that's 2-13. The Clippers, you're 1-3 against. So that's 3-16. Who else was in that top 6, top 7? New Orleans. 1-2 against New Orleans.
Okay.
So the point is,
yes,
you did not have a winning record against those teams.
So to think that the Warriors, like, because they won a singular game against the team, like, they're right there. Their issues are very deep. They have a lot of maneuver. They're not a move away. Like, I think that's the thing that I've come to accept months ago. They're multiple moves away. Now, they showed a little bit of promise, and I started to believe, and then, reality set in. And now I feel a certain way where, like, they are 3 to 5 moves away to be even in the top 6.
I'm with you. I mean, as 510, as Sydney Mobile Text Line says, the Warriors couldn't beat the Kings in a one-game play, and they were missing Monk and Red Velvet.
I mean, that's a very succinct way.
So I'm just like, trust me, I want to be the homer here, and I want to say, the Warriors could have beat this team in a 4-game series. I would have loved to see them against a T-Wolves team or an OKC team, but the problem was they didn't. They didn't see it, but I think the size would have got to the Warriors. I really do, because you're watching these playoffs here as they slow down these games. Rebounding, which the Warriors are really good at. They're a top rebounding team in the league despite being the shortest team in the league. But rebounds, defense, second chance opportunities. How do you get second chance opportunities? These teams are athletic getting to the loose balls. How many times do we see the Warriors lose out on loose balls because of the lack of athleticism on this basketball team?
Well, that brings me right to Draymond Green. There's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't decision regarding Draymond Green. We all see that he has tremendous value. But the days of him guarding anyone on the perimeter have been long gone.
Yeah. You don't see it for long stretches.
Okay. So who are you going to have to go through? You keep asking me, well, you got to build your team to go through certain teams. Against Jokic, the Warriors won because they were down Jamal Murray and they were down Michael Porter Jr. He averaged like 30, 10, and 10.
Yeah, he's a monster
against Draymond Green.
He's a monster.
All right? And so they just had Gobert, Naz Reid, and Cat go up against him. 3 separate bigs that had the athleticism, the size, and the ability to rebound, and then force him on also to defend on the other end.
And I mean, Naz Reid cooks the Warriors.
I'm just
Warrior fans, but just think about that for a second. Naz Reid has had his way against the Golden State Warriors over the last 3 years. That's how Warrior fans know Naz Reid so well. He's cooked them, literally.
So I'm looking at those two teams, right? Like Minnesota and Denver. And it's like, okay, to beat those teams, you have to be bigger at the 4 and the 5.
Yep.
At the 4 and the 5. So that includes whatever you want to call Draymond, okay?
And
whatever
you didn't even mention OKC yet.
So I'm getting there. He's not guarding Chet. Chet's going to blow by him, and he's bigger than him, right? And so that's a tough matchup for him. Now, he can maybe guard someone else on their team. Maybe you throw him on whatever.
I think Chet, too, and I think about that game in OKC where Draymond fouled Chet for the 3 free throws there, and Chet made them all. They win that game in overtime.
Now let's look at Dallas. Derek Lively and Gafford present problems for Draymond Green at the 4 or the 5, depending on who's out there, right?
Now to his credit, he did make one of the sickest defensive plays of the year against Gafford in that game at Chase Center.
He can make plays.
Yeah, backing up off of Kyrie. Consistency. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
Being able to not only defend, but to be able to box out, get us rebounds. As long as Draymond's playing either the 4 or the 5 exclusively, they have to have a legit elite 5 opposite him, or they need some other springy, crazy 4 opposite him. And I just don't see how you make that happen. See, we can talk all we want. Klay coming back. Is he gonna? What do you get? Well, if he's back, what are you doing? Draymond, to me, is the most important move of the offseason. You got to get, to me, it's either I'm getting someone who perfectly matches up to play alongside Draymond, or I'm shipping Draymond out, and I'm getting two more athletic, bigger guys.
So let's do this. Let's do this then. Because I still see value in Draymond Green.
I'm not saying he's not valuable.
No, I didn't say you didn't say that.
I'm presenting the other side of the argument I don't see how you're closing the gap against those 4 teams I referenced who went farther than you with Draymond on the roster.
But can you, though? Can you build a team around Steph and Draymond right now?
I don't think
and compete at a high level.
See, I don't think offensively, when I watch these other teams, being able to be a second shot creator with 12 seconds or less in the shot clock, that is not what Draymond can do.
Okay.
And he's going to hold the ball primarily on offense.
But what I'm asking here, when you have Steph and Dre, right? And we're talking about moving Wiggins, and you talking about moving Kuminga, and Klay moving on, and Klay and Chris Paul may not pick up that option. Mm-hmm. So that leaves Dre and Steph. Can you build around him to where Dre doesn't have to be that second or third option offensively? Can you get those options by making other trades, by moving other players? Because I still see the IQ with Draymond Green. I still think he's a very good defensive player. Offensively, I want the guy to shoot more. Call me crazy. I'm saying you got wide open shots. I know there's 37, 38% there from the 3-point line. We see glimpses of it. It's a confidence thing with him, which he talked about later in the year. Now you have to get the right players around him. I get that. He's a very unique player. But can you and still compete at a high level? I still think, with all his flaws, and you have Steph and Dre, you can get the right pieces around him through other avenues. I think you can still win at a high level. Because his mind and knowing where to be defensively, I still think helps. There's no doubt in my mind he doesn't miss those games the Warriors are in the playoffs. There's no doubt.
These other teams have, like, when you have Gobert out there, yeah, he can't knock down a shot, but the lob threat is just undeniable.
It's huge.
And, and the crashing of the glass is undeniable. Even if, like, let's say Draymond's playing your point guard type role that you're talking about at the top of the key, like a Mike Conley is knocking down shots, right? Jalen Williams, not only can he knock down a shot on the outside, he can blow by people and finish at the rim.
That's why you need guys around him. Now, if you're talking about trading Kuminga, a guy who gets to the rim, get downhill, get to the free throw line.
It's not ideal.
It's not ideal to move a guy like that. He's your most athletic player. Now, you still have Therese Jackson-Davis, who played alongside Draymond Green very, very well.
Ideally, I view him as a backup center.
As a backup center. I do too. But he could give you 20 minutes a night.
Okay.
And he could play, and what we do know is he can play alongside Draymond Green. So I know that.
For stretches.
I know that. Well, hell, he started next to Draymond. They played their best basketball next to each other, Draymond and TJD. Warriors played their best basketball when those two was paired down in the front court. So I know I can play TJD. Do I want him as a starter? No. Ideally, no. I don't want him starting in most starting lineups. But coming off the bench, being a 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th guy, absolutely. TJD can play. He can play on the roster and he can play next to Draymond Green.
Yeah, but
so if I can move these other guys and get players, and ideally players around Draymond Green and Steph, it's guys who space the floor. That's what we're talking about.
I guess where I come down is if they're rolling out TJD, let's just hypothetically, let's say they get a Brandon Ingram for Wiggins, right? And so it's Steph, let's say Kuminga, Brandon Ingram's, TJD.
So I think you have a spacing issue.
That's just not. I don't think it's good enough.
You have a spacing issue.
Yeah,
you have a spacing issue.
And I still don't think you're big enough. Like TJD is a very nice player. I really like TJD. Maybe he takes a leap forward that I'm not accounting for. But I view him as another undersized big. Even though he makes up for it with IQ and hustle plays, I like him as a player. I don't know, man. I still think you're at an athletic disadvantage.
No, you are. So that's why you got to get
shooting disadvantage.
Well, that's what I'm saying here. Ideally, what we're talking about is if you're going to build around Steph and Draymond, you need floor spacers, you need athletic wings. You need guys who can D up, especially in the backcourt. So you need a big guard who could guard other perimeter players who are handling the ball, right? So that's number one. They are missing that. This year, Andrew Wiggins, at times he showed you, and then at times he did that. He could be that lockdown defender on the wing. You just didn't see it consistently enough, which is why everybody's up in arms over Andrew Wiggins, amongst other things. So getting a floor spacer and guys who could defend at a high level on the perimeter is ideal. Because Draymond Green, one thing we want with Steph Curry, and you're watching these playoffs, you keep your perimeter, you keep the ball in the heads of many players like Jalen Brunson, you're going to wear it down. And we saw that with Steph Curry, especially he's going to be 36. He's going to turn 37 next March. You don't want him with the ball in his hands all game long. So what is his biggest strength? Playing off the ball. But I need another guard here who could also handle the ball outside of Draymond Green. And what I'm looking at is a long, rangier defender. So that's where you got to start. How do you build around Steph and Draymond? Let's say Draymond is untouchable and Draymond is back. How do you build around those two? And is it enough? Can you get the right assets? So I need to see what it looks like. It has to be the right players, right? Like, is Lauri Markkanen the right player to play alongside Draymond and Steph? Well, Lauri Markkanen loves to be on the three-point line. He'll space the floor. He'll hit some threes, no doubt, but can he stay healthy? That's what we're talking about with a player like Lauri Markkanen. Now, Utah's going to want a king's ransom for that. I don't know if the Warriors have those type of assets to give them all those assets. I don't know what you get for Andrew Wiggins with that contract and the way he played. Other teams are going to say, well, what's going on with Andrew Wiggins? Why would we want him over here?
I find it wild that after 24 months of what we've seen, that Draymond has become, I'm not saying that it's what you're calling him, but like, he's untouchable.
I don't think anybody's saying that. But I'm just working under the assumption that, you know, if we say that, boy, Wiggins is almost untradeable, or, you know, where's his value at, or if Kuminga has the most value. And I don't know what Draymond's value is around the league. I really don't. He's so unique of a player. So I'm working under the assumption that you may be stuck with him. And if you're stuck with him, how do I build around him? See, I can't sit here and go, oh, shucks, man, I'm stuck with Draymond Green. I got to figure out in the heartbeat, okay, I have Steph Curry and Draymond, and I know what Draymond is, and if I keep him on the floor, we are a better team with him on the floor, but he's very unique in the sense that I need floor spaces around him. Can I build around Steph and Draymond right now and get back to competing with the big boys? I wonder if Warrior fans think like that. 888-957-9570.
I keep coming back to this. Like, we're going to find out in about a month whether Klay is coming back or he's leaving. If Dre's still on this roster and Klay's the one that leaves early, for some reason, that's not going to sit well with me. I don't know why. I don't know. It's just I don't know. Not that it's fair. Like, pro sports doesn't have to be fair and like that. It's just, I find it hard to believe that, like, gotta run Klay out. And I know that he's a free agent and so it's different, but like, Dre's still here and Klay's the one that's gone.
It's wild.
That's going to be a tough one to swallow.
For many. But then if you start winning.
Well, you start winning and everybody
move on.
Looks the other way.
People look the other way. No doubt about that. 888-957-9570 is the number here. But he does know how to beat lobs. He does know how to destroy lobs. It's going to be very fascinating to see what happens with Draymond Green. I don't think he's going to be moved. And I'm working under the assumption that he's going to be back with Steph Curry. So how do I build a roster around Steph and Draymond is what I'm kind of looking at here. What's the best roster around those two if they're going to be here? And I know that doesn't sit well with a lot of people.
Well, like, we want a big who can defend at the perimeter. A bigger guard
wing
that can defend on the perimeter. Brandon Ingram is an ISO
heavy player,
offensively driven
he can defend,
player.
But but he's not the healthiest.
It's always hurt. It hurt a lot.
So I'm kind of soured on Brandon Ingram. He did not look good this past season, and he admitted it. For his sake, he said, look, man, this was a tough year for me. I have to get better. So I love the accountability that he took right after getting swept by OKC. But if he's there, and if you ask me right now, boy, New Orleans is in business. They want Wiggins straight up for Ingram. I'm doing it in a heartbeat.
I would have done that deal. Yeah, I'd do that.
I'm doing it. I don't think they would. I don't think David Griffin and GM and the Pelicans will, but they're going to want more. But I would do that in a heartbeat. I'll figure it out after that. But does that get you better? Now, what the other pieces look like? Are you getting more floor spacers? Because quietly, and then and that's the thing that we don't know, is where's Moses Moody at? Does Moses Moody have an ascension to his game that could help alleviate some of that? Where we're talking about fourth scores and fifth scores or secondary scores, can Moses Moody ascend to a level to where I'm getting 14 a game and 37 to 40% shooting from the three-point line?
And he's that defender opposite Steph Curry?
And he's that defender opposite Steph Curry.
I don't know.
I don't know what it looks like.
I don't see Moses Moody taking some ascension with the Warriors if Klay is here. But I don't even know if Moses Moody is going to be on the team next year, whether Klay's here or not.
Right.
Like, does he even want to be here?
Yeah, I don't know. Now, with the Brooklyn Nets, what are the Brooklyn Nets going to do with Mikal Bridges?
And don't they have to make a decision on his contract by October 20th?
Yep.
I would love to have Mikal Bridges. He is the perfect 3-and-D type of a player who can do just enough off the dribble for this team. I think he's an underrated passer. I really like him as a player overall. He's an ideal type of a player.
And that's your guy who's guarding opposite of Steph Curry.
No, I would love him. But, what would it take to get him?
I don't know what Brooklyn's in business for. They're going to have a new coach.
I would love to have
They've got a new coach. I don't know what's going on. And he's an East Coast guy. Obviously, he played at Villanova.
You would think a Kuminga package. Kuminga would be included in a package for someone like that. As well as
you really feel like Kuminga's going to get dealt, huh?
I just don't think they're going to go down the because it's very simple. You keep him, you're paying him $30 million. So if you don't keep him, someone else is. Like that's the way this feels like it's playing out.
So you mentioned Anthony Slater.
Am I wrong?
Anthony Slater mentioned at 8:30 that it's a big month for the Golden State Warriors. So I ask you, and I'll ask the audience at 888-957-9570, who's it a bigger month for? Is it a bigger month for the Golden State Warriors to figure out what their priorities are and who they may want to go after or who they may want to trade or who they may want to bring back? Or is it a bigger month for the San Francisco Giants, who are currently 2 games under 500? They won 4 straight games. They have a slew of injuries. However, we're finally seeing the youngsters. We're seeing Ramos. We're seeing Matos. We're seeing Luciano.
Well,
and it feels good to see them. Boys, energize me watching Giants games, that's for sure. Who's it a bigger month for, the Giants or the Warriors?
I mean, you're talking about the last embers of the Steph Curry run here in Golden State, whether it's 2, 5, somewhere in between years. So that feels like it's got more immediacy. The Giants could struggle for the next month and then light it up in August and September and still find their way into the playoffs, right? Or, these youngsters could hit rock bottom, go back down to AAA, stuff happens at the deadline, they come back up, and then they start to show promise again. I feel like the Warriors situation, when we're talking about the final couple years of this.
Right.
When Steve Kerr is basically saying, like, this is about it.
Oh.
Steph Curry's only on contract for 2 more years?
3, right? 2 more. Yeah, 2 more years. So, I mean, there's an immediacy here. There's a pressure of, it feels like the end of the road, boys to men, as I go guru on you. The end of the road.
And the Giants don't have pressure. The GM might have pressure.
Well, that's the thing. The GM, it feels, Bob Melvin's managing like he's got pressure. That's for sure. He's managing like he's got some pressure.
Well, I think there's a ton of pressure for Dunleavy.
Yeah.
And I think there's a ton of pressure for the Lacob family as a whole, whether it's his son who's helping with Dunleavy currently or whether it's Joe himself. I do believe there are people within and without of the organization like, can we get this done without Steph? Is there another